Well, yesterday was the third meeting for their December monthly meeting. Ran pretty short, 2 hours and 11 minutes. Jim Matson is here today. He's the board president. How you doing?
Just fine, Ken.
There was a decent amount to talk about, but a lot of it was very quick. And we talked about color schemes for paint combinations and things like that. Of course, the Energy Committee, Bert talked about that. And one of the topics, and we'll get an update from you right now, is over at the golf course, the storm drain project that has been ongoing. And how did it hold up? I know you're going to go over there later today.
Right. Well, as soon as I finish here, I'm going to go over there and check at the bridge area, and then down below on 2403 where Stan Feldstein lives, and that was a big deal there. But hopefully, with this small rain, there's not much wash off of the dirt slopes there. Because when that washes all the way through and goes out on the golf course.
Yeah, and that's what causes the biggest problem, obviously.
But from a structural standpoint, that bridge area there, it's all done, and so there will be no more flooding. And so the people in that area, in the 2390. 3, 4, 5, and 6 area, and then down below there in 2403, 4, 5, and 6 don't have anything to worry about now. So I'm really glad to see that. If we could get about 2 weeks of sunshine, then we'll get those slopes along the wash area all covered with a it's a plastic matting that we'll put down that will prevent erosion. And so that will come along.
We'll see. I know you'll get about at least some sunshine coming up starting today and all the way into the weekend. So I haven't looked ahead till next week, but we'll see.
Right.
But
also,
nice.
The painting, another thing is moving along gate 11. They've been there all year, and they're just moving out into across the street to gate 10 in the Villa Blanca East area.
Okay.
And so that's going. Dry rot, where this is our third month, and all the directors of the various committees you mentioned, Energy and with Bert and M&C, and all these chairmen of these committees are really starting to get dug into their to their activities. They starting to develop a really good understanding of what has happened and what the needs are, and we're really moving forward. And the board is very united. And it's all 11 of us, so things are working out great. Another thing that sort of coming to an end after a number of years is this copper pipe epoxy program.
Right. Yes.
Started back, I think that was when I was on third, around 2006. Selected a contractor, and that's been going on ever since. And right now we've, I think, completed around 30 of our 3-story buildings, which was where the most failures were occurring.
Now, when this is done, is it the piping that's below grade or throughout the whole building?
No, this is above grade throughout all the buildings, all the copper pipe for each of the manors inside the 3-story buildings. It was a epoxy lining.
Yeah.
And so stopped filled a lot of these little pinholes in the pipes that were leaking water. And so that's all filled in.
Now, do they, I seem to recall back then, when it was being talked about, do they go into each manor to do that? Or
yes,
they do, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember seeing a video on that, how that's done.
So that's
interesting.
For a 3-story building, that's around $100,000 for that epoxy program. But that's after all these years, that's essentially done, and we're going to stop that because all the high failure rate buildings have been essentially gone over with that.
That's good. Now, when they come in and do that, do they give a lifetime? What kind is the estimate will that epoxy last? Is it 10 years, 20 years, or lifetime, or? I remember you talking about it years ago, but I don't recall that.
I don't know what the current numbers are, but when I was on, they were talking 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
So it lasts a long time.
Wow, that's great.
Very good process.
Yeah. Very interesting.
And with our drought, that you wouldn't know now,
Yeah.
but with our drought conditions, we're taking a really good look at our landscape design. Instead of we're going to start taking out some grass
Yes.
areas.
Yeah.
And put in some of these very drought tolerant plants, plant them. And
That's a
so
great
that cut out a
idea.
lot of grass and the need for mowing and watering.
Yeah, and that's being done all over. Where I live, the city that I live in, they're doing the exact same thing. Obviously, we have big fields for soccer and things like that, but the kind of the decorative grass area
Yeah,
along the
right.
medians and all,
Right,
it's all,
right.
it's either gone or just about ready to go. They're letting it just die off, and it's actually easier to take it out then, and then they'll
Yeah.
do the exact same thing.
So
Yeah.
we are right in the middle of that, and so things are looking really good.
Very good. I thought it was interesting yesterday when you folks were talking about paint schemes and the colorful color names that they give,
Yeah.
the different ones. And somebody was asking, I think Bert was asking about it, but that's what they do. Something's called dark cherry red or whatever it might be, and trying to get sometimes a number on that. It can be difficult because it changes from manufacturer to manufacturer. It might be a
Yeah.
very similar color, but
Right, exactly.
depending what they're using.
Yeah, well, we have this. We have a color board
Yeah.
that has all the different selections for three-story building, three-story building. Then we have another color board for 1- and 2-story buildings.
Okay.
And we deleted a couple of the combinations for the 3-story board, and deleted 1 or 2 for the 1 2-story, and then we added one, which is a white paint for the exterior. A lot of people like white on their exterior paint for the walls, and that's what we added.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, as I said, it was a pretty short meeting. Is there anything else you wanted to add? As far as I think we touched on all kind of the highlights. I know you're still looking at solar clearinghouses, and I know for the Energy Committee, they're hoping to get Southern California Edison at their next meeting, so they can go over
Yeah,
different types of
right.
programs that are available.
Yeah, well, Bert is having a meeting at 9:30 today. You advertised it earlier
Yeah.
here on this program, and he's doing really well. Him and John Levy are really getting involved in the energy, and which is the first time that I've seen at least 2 directors on one committee really have getting a good understanding and
Yeah.
and motivated to upgrade our lighting system, especially
Yeah.
to the LED area.
Yeah, exactly. It was interesting that Bert brought up that there's actually, what Southern California Edison, I guess, kind of alluded to, that you could end up, I think there's a tariff if you switch everything over or something. It was kind of complicated, and I know that's what he wants to have them come by and talk about. And as we've seen throughout the state, it seems whenever people cut back on electricity or something, then the electric company is like, well, we aren't making as much money as we used to now. We got to find another way. And it's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
We've seen
yes.
that everywhere.
Yeah, well, the various problems we have, like in our closed sessions, it's nice to get people in and let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
And see if we can, and we bend a little bit, they bend a little bit, and we, for the most part, we, get things worked out just fine.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of people with reasonable attitudes just sitting down and going over the problems.
Exactly. Thank you very much
Well,
for
most
coming
welcome.
on. And you have a great Christmas and holidays, and I'll see you in about a month, I guess.
Okay, well, Merry Christmas to all the folks out there, and Happy Hanukkah. It's a real good time right now.
Yes,
So
that's right in the middle of it.
looking forward to Christmas myself. Very
All
much.
right. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
We'll be right back. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how